Hello and welcome to Ask Your Elders. I'm your host Kyle, and on today's episode we interview Mrs. Millicent Grant. Mrs. Grant is 87 years old, and her story takes us through her growing up in British Guyana, moving to the Bay Area, and she also shares about her over 30 years experience helping senior citizens at the East Palo Alto Senior Center. I hope you enjoy the interview. Please be sure to like and subscribe to follow along for future Ask Your Elders episodes, and enjoy.
I'm Millicent Grant, and I am 87 years old.
And Mrs. Grant, where are we right now?
We're at the East Palo Alto Senior Center.
And what's your position here?
I'm the executive director here.
And how long have you been the executive director here?
34 years.
Incredible. So, if you don't mind, I'd love to start from the beginning of Mrs. Grant's life. So, can you tell me a little bit about your childhood? Where did you grow up and where were you born?
I'm from Guyana, South America, was British Guyana, and I grew up there with my mother and father, and I have 2 brothers and 3 sisters.
What number were you in the siblings?
I'm the second in the family.
And so can you describe what was your childhood like?
Well, my childhood life was quite simple. We go to church every Sunday. All of us, the children, go to Sunday school. We go to Bible study. And I remember we had American family. They were missionaries. And they came to Guyana. And so I would say that I was grew up in a good Christian home.
And was the faith led from your parents?
Yes, yes. I remember way back as a small child, my grandmother would take us to church every Sunday. And she had, I think she paid, I can't exactly remember, but we always sat in the front pew of the church.
So you had
front.
VIP seating?
Myself and my 2 sisters, we all would go up to church with her. That was our seat. And remember, my little sister used to fuss, cry a little bit, because she's sitting too long. And my grandmother would reach into her handbag and pull a piece of toast and give it to her. That would quiet her down.
Was the town, village, or city you grew up in large or small? Can you describe it a
It
little
was
bit?
a small village. I cannot tell you how many people live in the village, but I would say everybody just about knows everybody. And I know that I see that my parents, grandparents, would always be feeding people, giving food and stuff like that. And as I grew up in the teenage, I would say, not a teenage life, but 12, 13, I remember my mother would cook soup every Sunday, and we have to take food to the older people. And we cannot eat until we take their food. We have to
Wow.
take food for the older people. And then it was hot, you know. Guyana is a very hot country. And in those days, it was very hot. So when we take their food first, then we come back, then she fed us. That was the rule. That's how I was brought up.
So you
Caring
witnessed
for
from your
people.
parents
Right.
always having a giving heart and looking out for people who couldn't necessarily feed themselves or needed help.
Exactly. That's how I was brought up.
Is there anything, so you mentioned it was very hot there. Is there anything about your childhood that you remember specifically about whether it was the music or the food or friends that you can describe a little bit more about where you grew up?
I remember church, going to church regularly and Sunday school, Bible study. Just about every day in the week, you have something to do, religious, you know, kind of thing.
How long did you stay in that community and stay in Guyana before you came to the United States?
I left there, Guyana, I left there about, well, my little group, school group, everybody wants to go to London.
To London?
Everybody wants to go to Canada because it's a British country, you know. But I thought, well, maybe I think I'd like to try America.
So
That
what
was
made
my
you
dream.
think that? What was your perspective of America as a young woman in
As
Guyana?
a young woman, because you see, you read magazines and stuff that come in, you know, and then my daughter, her babysitter, came to America, and she said, and I said, I want to go too. She said, well, I'll see what I can do to help you. And so she did, came through, and she helped me.
So you actually
here.
already had a family in Guyana before you came here?
Yes, I was married. I had Bridget, one daughter, just one daughter.
Wow.
But I want to come to America. That's how I got here.
And so was it because of economic opportunity? Was it because of other reasons that you felt you wanted to leave Guyana?
It wasn't really economic. It was like everybody wants to go someplace. Everybody wants an opportunity, because you hear so much about America, and I want to come and see this place, And so I came and stuck here.
Is there anything specific about Guyana that you remember that I didn't ask about?
The thing I remember about Guyana, the people are very hospitable, very nice, caring, giving. Some of them, just like not all of them. But that's a place we never look at color. We never talk about racial things. I didn't grow up like that. Everybody's one big family. Everybody reach out helping each other,
And when you left Guyana in 1969, that was 3 years after independence, right? Was it a tumultuous time there?
It was a time when it was like a lot of politics now. Because see, the thing is, we didn't really growing up politics and all that kind of stuff. We just love each other. I had a lot of Indian friends we grew up with. I grew up with, and we didn't have all that problem. But then when the politics came, like here in America, I hate to say that, but the politicians got everything here in America mixed up. People are confused. They don't know where to go here or there. They don't know where to go, And so it is. People don't have jobs. People get laid off and all this kind of stupid stuff. Why can't we all get along? And make sure, especially for the children. Children have no business being hungry in America. There's too much food. But in my country, we plant. We plant our food, greens and stuff like that. We raise our own chicken. That's how I was brought up. We had sheep, we had goat. My mother had pigs in the country area. So, and then you share. When a time comes, when it's a problem, everybody share.
Has the United States become home for you, though?
Yeah, this is home, because I'm going back to Guyana. It's too mixed up. And my mother passed away, too. My dad passed away, so I just have one sister back in Guyana.
Are you happy that you made the move to the United States and built your life here?
Yes, I'm happy. I'm very happy. Changes, everybody needs changes.
So the babysitter for your daughter first came to the United States.
Yeah.
And then what was the experience after? So did you hear from that babysitter?
Actually, she got a job for me. And I came here and I stayed with those ladies, and she went on to another job.
Where was that?
A place called Lancaster, California.
In Lancaster, California?
In Lancaster. That's where we part. Because she went on to do other things, because she also was a single parent, had to raise 2 children. So she too had to work, So I stayed with the doctor and his wife, and I decided, well, I want to move on and do something else. So the doctor's wife knew a friend in Redwood City and said, that's how I came in this area. She sent me down here to help her. And she said to me, Mrs. Grant, I am looking for some help. Can you help me? I said, sure, I would be most delighted to help you.
Wow.
And so that's how I got stuck in this area.
If I have this correct, your first job was helping out a doctor and his wife.
Yes.
Around their home or with their practice?
Around their home. Mm-hmm.
And so did you come here alone, or did you come here with your
I came
daughter?
with the babysitter.
She
brought me here because I don't know anybody here.
And did you come with your daughter and your husband at the time?
No, they stayed. They
Okay.
stayed back with him to take care of her.
How long were you in the Lancaster job with the doctor and his wife?
Oh, maybe a year or so.
And what was that like, your first time in the United States?
Yeah, what it was like, it was cold. I came from a very hot country, and then here I am in this cold place. And when I speak, like vapor coming out of my mouth, like smoke. I said, what the heck is this?
Do you remember what year that was?
I can't remember the years. I didn't keep track of the years. I said, what the heck is smoke coming out of my mouth? And I said, smoke, it's cold.
So outside of the weather, was there any other aspect of American culture, food, or just life here that surprised you when you first got here?
Actually, for me, the food was a little different, because we cook a lot of spicy food and stuff like that. We're here, they cook most of the food I notice is hamburgers and that kind of stuff, hot dogs, and people don't want to cook.
So were you a bit disappointed with the food scene
I
when
was
you
a
first
little
got here?
disappointed with the food. But after I came down to Redwood City, I met a friend. She passed away. She also was a Guyanese. And we will talk about the food and the culture and stuff like that. So she became my best friend.
Wow.
And
And that was somebody that you met when you first moved to Redwood City?
Redwood City, yes, yeah.
And so
can't
you moved to
remember.
Redwood City, and what was your job there? You
My
found a
job
different
there,
family to work with?
I did house sitting with a very nice family. But they were older people. And she had owned a beauty shop. She used to operate and teach women how to make their faces and stuff, to put on their makeup and
Sure.
stuff. So that's what I remember very well.
Again, you don't remember what year this was?
Man, that was a long time. Because I
Maybe
came here in Christmas of 1969. May have been in early 70 or so.
in the early 1970s, 71 maybe?
Like 71. Because I came down and lived here, and then this is personal though. My daughter, I had to send for her. And so I divorced her dad, and I got remarried again here. And so, so life was different.
Sure.
We was able to move on, and my friend was with me too. And we girls talking and helping, and then met a couple more Guyanese girls, and we all sit and talking and trying to, what we gonna do? Map out our life and stuff like that.
So that's really interesting.
Mm-hmm.
When you got to Redwood City, you found a group of Guyanese women,
Yeah,
and you
I
kind of
met-
became a resource group for each other.
Yes, talking and laughing and just talking, where we going from here, and planning and stuff like that, because really I didn't plan to go back to Guyana.
I was just going to ask you that. So when you left originally, was your goal to stay in the United States?
Well, come and see what's happening. And then as I got here, decided, like everybody else, we're opportunists. And you came looking for a better opportunity, and I found it here.
So in Redwood City in the 70s, what was it like?
I can't remember because I didn't mingle too much. And I would say Redwood City wasn't highly populated like it is right now in those days.
A bit more rural?
Yes, not too much. But then I moved down here too. We got married, and I came down to East Palo Alto.
And how did you meet your husband in the United States?
I met him because one day I went to the post office to send some clothing and stuff for my family back home, and it was too much, it was overpacked. And they told me that I need to take out some of the stuff, it's too much. So I met a lady, the older lady there, and she said, oh, I can help you, come to my place. I went to her home, and she helped me repack and stuff. So I went back there to the post office, and we post the stuff up. But then that's how I met him, right there.
He was at the
doing
post
some
office?
mailing, right. And he said, oh, I can help too. So that's how we got together with my friends and these girls. You got your little girlfriends talking and stuff,
Absolutely.
Girl talk, and that's what happened.
Wow. And so is your husband Guyanese or is he American?
No, America.
So you got married. You've now been settled for, it sounds like, a
Settled.
few years in Redwood City. Did you live in Redwood City, or where did you and your husband live?
We lived here in East Palo Alto. We rented an apartment. No, yes, it was a little apartment at the place called the Light Tree Apartment. In those days, things was different.
Can you
Yeah.
describe that? What was East Palo Alto like when you lived there?
Well, for me, East Palo Alto, it was okay, no problem. And then after they started to get shooting and lots of drugs and stuff like that. And it was very difficult to live here.
I read a bit about East Palo Alto, and I know it's gone through a lot of changes
Yes.
from the time, it sounds like, when you
Right,
were living
right,
there
right.
through the 80s, 90s, and today. But when you first got there, can you describe the community? You said that you have a lot of Guyanese friends. Were they all living in East Palo Alto
Just
also?
one of them was living here, and the rest had moved away. See, people move on. They don't stay in one place, because they're looking for the opportunity. They're looking for their future and those kind of things, They're opportunists.
But you had a nice home when you first started living here?
Oh, yeah.
Good community around you?
Yeah, nice. Because my husband at the time was involved with the Mothers for Equal Education. That is the ladies that build the senior center.
The Mothers for Equal Education?
Yeah.
Can you explain what that
Well, they
organization
were the
is?
Nairobi. Well, actually, what I was told, that they had a Ravenswood High School over here, and the children weren't being taught like they should, because they graduate and can't spell their names. And so the ladies, Mrs. Wills, Mrs. Moulton, a group of ladies got together and decided that they're gonna open their own school, Mothers for Equal Education, that was called. They got together and start teaching the children. And then they had the Nairobi schools. You may have heard about that too. That's how the Nairobi schools start, to the high schools and stuff.
And your husband was involved in this? Were you involved in
No,
this also?
he was with the board of supervisors with them, with these ladies. In the meantime, I was going to school now. And my goal is that I wanted to be, that's how I got into banking. I'm a
really?
banker, yeah.
Was your husband also a big volunteer here before he passed?
Yes. Volunteer here. He was on the board for the job training. Yeah, he was the secretary. Many years ago, he was on the board.
So he was also very much focused
He
on
was
helping
very
the
much
community.
focused in helping the community too, yeah. That's how I get involved too, get to know a lot of people, yeah.
So you went to school as an adult once you were settled here?
Exactly.
And so what was that like? Was there a lot of resources for you, or did you, was it hard to find the school and apply and go?
But before I started that, I used to help at the Mothers for Equal Education, had a daycare. And I used to help there teach the children, because I do have a background on that. And so I learned a lot, and I will tell anybody, listen to the children. You can learn a lot. And I learned a lot from these little kids.
So it sounds like you were involved with the Mothers for Equal Education movement.
Yeah, but see, the thing is that having leave your country and come here is that everything is different. The culture is different. So you gotta not talk too much, but listen and learn, and that's what I did. My little kids taught me a lot. We would read, I'll read for them and play with them, and because little children have a lot to say.
In that experience, did you learn anything different from watching kids in Guyana, kids here? What was the difference?
The difference between the kids here and the kids in Guyana, the kids in Guyana don't talk too much. They don't tell, but the kids here will tell. Once they get to know you, they'll open up to you and tell you stuff, So then I move on from there. I went into banking.
And so how long was the schooling for the banking?
I may have spent about a year or so.
And so then where was your first job after that?
After the school, went straight to banking.
Web Street
That's
Bank?
my only job. I work with, let's see. I worked with the bank. The name was First National Bank of San Jose. That's where I started my banking. And then they changed the name to Bank of the West. And now it's BMO.
And you stayed there for your entire career?
Many years, my whole career, right up supervisory position. I worked. Well, see what happened when First National Bank of San Jose bought out Bank of the West, you have to change the account. And I was the one that was sent out to do, because I like working with people, and I like to work in a bank and stuff like that. And so I helped them with the conversion. And then after that, I went to San Francisco, and they gave me two other staff to work with me. So we went to San Francisco and did finish off the conversion there and everything. So we did very well.
So can you share what was your career path? You started out as a bank teller?
Yes, yes, yes.
And so what was your next role once you...
The next role from bank teller, I was made bank supervisor.
And what was that transition like? Did you enjoy it?
The transition was quite simple. It's the same, and one of the things is that some people get kind of, they feel they get power when they get up there. I was just the same person. I listened to everybody. We worked together. Working together means a lot. You don't sit there and tell them, go do this, that, whatever.
When you moved into a supervisor role, you said that the key is to stay connected to the people that work with
Exactly.
you. Did that come natural to you?
Yeah, I always like people, grow up with people, friends, whatever. So it was quite natural, you know, listening and working together. Because lots of times when people get into a position, a management position, they try to separate themselves. But you keep everybody working together. We all are one. Everybody one.
So from the bank supervisor, then your role elevated again once the merger happened and you stepped into a higher role?
A higher role. So that was my thing, to do the conversion for the transition from one bank to another bank. And we did very well. We did, my group and I did extremely well, because we got the president, the vice president of the bank came in one day, and it was all set up. We didn't know. And they brought a big limousine. They took us to lunch. I remember that. I have never rode in one of those stretch car limousine, they call them. And so we went to the Fairmont Hotel. I'll never forget that.
The Fairmont in San Francisco?
In San Francisco, because that's where I was. I was in the financial district in San Francisco, the corner of Bush and Montgomery.
And so you were commuting this entire time
And train, yeah,
from East
yeah.
Palo Alto?
Yeah, train every day, every day. And so, oh, that was nice. I'll never forget that lunch. So we all went out there, and I sat there, because I've never been in a huge place like that before with so much food. But my two assistants, they know what to order. You know, they're Americans, they know how to move around, but I'm just like, I will use the phrase like Alice in Wonderland, just sit there, whatever.
So when did you decide to retire from that role?
Well, my husband died. My husband was murdered on his job in 1986. And so I worked about 2 years after that, then I retired. And then is when this Mrs. Moulton, she was the mayor, I think she was the mayor then or whatever, but my husband worked with all these beautiful ladies. And they called me and asked me to come and meet them here. So I met them here at the senior center. And then they said, you know, Mrs. Grant, I would like for you to come here and help us. I heard you retired. Will you come and help us? I said, sure, I'll come and help you. So that's how I got stuck here.
Wow. So you were on this career path at the bank, and then you had a sudden family tragedy.
Yes.
And you lost your husband. And you had your daughter here with you.
Oh, yes, she came. She was here.
So can you talk about what, I mean, that's a tragedy, and of course it perhaps put your life upside down in a way. So how did you deal with that? Did you know right away you'd have to leave your job?
Well, I knew. You see, I'm a lady go to church. In those days, I was in church all the time. And we had a beautiful priest there. He would come and pray for me. And then we used to do, before his death, we would be at church all the time, and I will do the flower arrangements for the church. Beautiful, nice arrangements. And then Bridget, she will be with the altar guild. That is, with the priests and, you know, and at the altar giving sacraments and stuff like that. So that's how we continue doing that.
And so the people that you mentioned, what were their names at the senior center that you met?
Mrs. Barbara Moulton and Mrs. Wiltz.
And one of them was the mayor of the city?
One of them, yes, she was the mayor. Because see, East Palo Alto was not a city. East Palo Alto became a city, I think, in 1982 or so. East Palo Alto became a city. And then she was the first mayor.
She was the first mayor of East Palo Alto?
First mayor, yes.
So after the 2 years, you decided to leave the bank, and then you went full-time to work and run the senior
Yeah,
center.
they asked me to come and help them. But before then, My therapist sent me over here to work in a group, to be with a group where they can help me along the way. Because it was very devastating to have something like that happen. And so I was with a group of African American women over here at this municipal building here. And then being in that group, I've learned a lot. The ladies were talking about at the Second Harvest Food Program. That's where I started out.
The Second Harvest
The
Food
Second
Program?
Harvest had a food program here in East Palo Alto. And the ladies were talking that when they go, they can't get food, there's no food for them and what not. So I said, let me go. The instructor for the class, she said, Mrs. Grant, I want you to go and see what's happening, you know. So I came down here, signed up here at the senior center. There was a lady there signing up. And then at that time, they had a building over there, not the Y. There was another building there. That's where they distributed the food. And so I went on there to check out with this lady with me, you know, my friend. I want to know what's happening. So we went over there, and I remember the first day I went, the lady said, we have no food, all the food is gone. But I found out more about the food before I went there, because I need to know. So when I went there, in those days, they were given, the government was giving them cheese and butter, I remember that. And this lady had about 2 or 3 cases of butter next to her. And she said, we don't have no food. And I looked down and I said, you don't have no food? What's in that box? Oh, it's some butter. I said, what you gonna do with that? And before she could answer, I said, well, I need 4 packs of that butter and give her 6 too. Because there are people there that didn't get no food today and they need to get something. And she said, But they probably, from what I understand, they were selling the food and the butter and the cheese. And
so people were getting donated food. And
yeah,
then
they were
selling.
government cheese. I found out later on because I said, like, I didn't know too much, but
Sure.
joining this group, I was able to educate myself now in a different area of what's happening with food. And so, and after we left, she gave it to us. She didn't call fuss or complain. And so what I did, I gave it to the lady. I said, take it to the building there on Runnymede, senior building, and give everybody one. Go and distribute it. And so the next week we went back to our therapy class and we reported that, you know. And then they said, you know what? We're gonna take over that that program.
So you saw that there was things that needed to be improved.
Well, the ladies are telling me, but when I see the butter and stuff there, I know they're gonna take it away. And in those days, they were selling it, I understand.
So then you went back to the group, you
So I
explained
went back,
that, and then everybody decided
me
we're
and my
going to join.
partner went back, and she did most of the talking, and I did most of the listening. And then the head lady, I can't remember her, the instructor, she said, well, looks like we got to do something about this. And so they call in the head lady who was the manager for the program. That's my friend now, there's Susan, can't remember her last name, because it's so many years ago. And so she came and they talked and they said, well, we're gonna change the supervisor for the Second Harvest program, and they want me to be the supervisor. I said, me? I can't do that. Yes, you can. Everybody said, and the instructor said, who wants to help? Everybody, the whole class, hand up. Everybody got to help. So it was kind of, I was shocked, I was surprised. How am I gonna do this program? I don't know nothing but handling food, you know. But we did take over the program, and it was very successful. So,
Was this now your full-time job, or was this just something
no,
you were
I didn't
doing?
work. I didn't work. I just came here and volunteered.
But you, as a volunteer, you were running the operation for the Second Harvest.
Exactly. And so after that commotion, that stuff that happened, then Second Harvest started to grow. They started to get more agencies, more sites to give out
Because of
food.
your help
More sites.
setting this up more
No,
effectively.
they had to do that because in other areas, at Second Harvest, the more people they get to give the food to, the more donations they get, the more help, the more feeding people too, you know. So they begin to grow. So they change from having here one day and over there a different day, because the truck now will come this way one day. So they changed, they will do the 2 sites on the same day. But I couldn't do there and here, so I chose to be here. Because I live here in East Palo Alto. So, and that's why I got stuck here.
What did you learn from that experience of seeing a program that was supposed to help people, but not being run correctly, and then you coming in and fixing some areas, knowing that you could set up a system where it does help more people and kind of fix things up? What was that experience like, seeing, and did that give you an extra mission in terms of wanting to help?
That experience for me and my past background with the bank and stuff, people are not here to help people, they're here to help themselves. That was my opinion of the whole thing. Because here's the food to give to the people, then you're gonna fill your car up with food for yourself. So why are you here? Why are you here, you know? So that was the whole point.
After the second harvest, how did you get more involved and become the executive director here?
Here? Okay, that's another story too. So after this, I continued with the food program, and then I would still come here and help here in the office. And because I have a lot of office background. So I'll help in the office. Let me see how I started too. Here. Then I started in the kitchen. Well, I was all over the place. I was in the office helping. Then I came in the kitchen because so the seniors, this senior center, their lunch program is operated by the city, and the kitchen breakfast is operated by the senior center. So I came in the kitchen, and I learned from a lot of older women that was here in the kitchen that doing the breakfast, and they had other programs. They had a program called Title VI. That program was operated by the county, and they will bring in the older senior women and pay them a little check, a little stipend check, and they will take care of the lunch when it comes in. They will take care of the lunch. So everybody worked together. It was a thing where everybody loved each other, worked together.
Strong community.
Strong community here. Because then I left Menlo Park, and I put all my focus here. And so Mrs. Wilson, Miss Mouton, they bring me in under the umbrella and showed me and tell me everything. And I started to learn more about the city, more about the senior center, and how, you know, I've seen a lot of African American used to come here, but they passed on. A lot of them has passed on. And then we have a lot of diverse group of people here now. Have a lot of Spanish people here, Latinos. We have Asian people here. You know, they're all seniors, and so times have changed. So I just move on doing what I do and take care of business, you know.
Can you talk a little bit about, like, how often are you here working and how many hours each day?
I'm here every day, Monday through Sunday. Because see, what happened is that we never did have enough help here to do certain things. And sometimes we'll have some money that I can bring in a maintenance guy to help me lift stuff and whatever, you know. But as time goes by, funds get things. So you got to do it yourself, or maybe solicit some volunteers to come and help.
So you're here 7 days a week. You still do the breakfast cooking and
I do the
serving
breakfast
yourself?
Here, yeah. But I get some help if I have, well, the city had given me a grant and I had a little help in the kitchen with the breakfast. Because, you know, I had a stroke and I can't, my knee, you know this, I walk with a cane. So I can't move like I used to. But then the money has run out for that help. But I know what I have to do. So my daughter, she retired from her job, and so she's helping in the office, because I'll do the office and everything. So she does the office work, I does the food, but we work together. And then I have volunteers that come in and do a little bit here, there, whatever.
You're 87 years old.
Yes.
And you're working 7 days a week. What keeps you going?
I believe in God. That's the first thing I would say. And I would say this too, that when my husband died, he was murdered, like I said. We didn't know who did it. And being in church and know how to pray, I will go to church and I will pray. I will take my daughter with me. And I'll go and I pray. And one thing I asked God for, I made a commitment. I said, we didn't know who murdered him. Please find the person, and I will serve you for the rest of my life. That's what my prayer was to God. And sure enough, you know, I got to tell you, God just tests you out. I waited and waited about a year or so after, and then I get a call. They found this man from the police department in Burlingame. They found him, and they arrested him. But it was all in the newspaper and all that, you know. So they had to bring him back here. And so, well, during that period of time now, they found him. I'm happy. I started to came over here, and God sent me here. I don't say how they asked me to come and do this work here and stuff. And I told my daughter, you say, remember we used to pray? I said, this is what God wants me to do, feed the people. And that's why I'm here. And I'm here, stuck here till now.
What do you think people who don't have experience volunteering, what do they miss out on? Because it sounds like you have great stories of meeting people from all walks of life through volunteering.
Well, first of all, let me talk about the people who, people are lonely, people at home. They want to come out and do something, and they don't know where to go, who to talk to, so they get an opportunity. You ask, and they come, and oh, they love it, and they keep calling and keep coming, you know.
The volunteers?
Oh yeah, the volunteers. But those who know about volunteering, you don't have to call them, they're here. They come to work, they love what they're doing. So that's the difference. Being from another country, I learn a lot from them too. I listen to them and I learn. I learn all about America and stuff like that. Most of my volunteers passed away. I just lost one. He is about 100 years old. I had another one, 97 years old. They're older men and women that come to volunteer, they get sick. And I lost a couple of them during the pandemic. They had to stay home, but they passed on.
You had this successful career in the bank, you moved up the ladder, a family tragedy struck, and you changed your focus. It sounds like your faith helped you find this new focus.
Oh yes, believe in God.
And you've now built this entire successful path focusing on volunteerism and working with seniors. What have you learned through this experience?
This experience, well, I really haven't had to learn anything. I already know. That is loving people, caring and giving. That's the main thing. Once you show your love to people and show them you care about them, and I'm here to help you. That's all you need to know. And your faith in God will take you through.
If you're comfortable, do you mind sharing a bit of how you've been able to sustain that faith, that relationship with your faith throughout your life? Is it through daily prayers? Is it through weekly mass? Can you talk a little bit about your faith?
Daily prayer. I get up and, you see, like I tell people, I don't go to church like I used to because I'm here all the time, but I carry God in my heart here. And people will tell you who know about me. This is where I came, and He knows, and I read my Bible.
And is that a daily practice for you?
That's a daily practice for me. I leave home, I got to say my prayer before I leave home. And when I come here, I thank God for being here too. And so that's why I'm able to sustain what I'm doing and my health and everything.
In terms of the rich life you've lived, and now perhaps how you would give advice to younger people, is there any specific wisdom that you think is most useful to tell young people today?
Yeah, but I will say to the young people, if you have a dream, because everybody have a dream, to do something, follow your dream, and always believe in God, because God will always help you. You know, the other day I had a young man here, and he came to volunteer. And he's waiting on Bridget, and he came, and his story was very sad to me. What he told me, his father's from Scotland, and his father's an alcoholic. So I'm thinking this poor little boy needs some help. So then as he talked, he said he'd go to church with his grandmother, and he said he wanted to be a fireman, but his mother doesn't want him to be a fireman. And he sat, and then he said that he, I guess, had some bad company, but he changed his life now. And he's doing good now. And so I gave him the little talk. I said, you know, believe in your dreams. If you have a dream, you go and follow your dream. Don't let nobody take your dream away from you. He said, thank you, Miss Grant. So he's happy. He left happy. And I told Bridget, I said, Bridget, you work with him. Because what happened is that we used to know the fire chief here for Menlo Park. But he left, he retired and moved away. Because Bridget said, you know, Mommy, I could have get him, talk with him to kind of build his morale up and help him along the way, you know. But he's doing okay, the little boy. I tell him must come back. He always come and look for us, always.
So in this role, you almost have become a mentor to lots of
Yes,
volunteers.
I do that too. Yeah, do that to kids.
Does that give you a lot of value in your life, to be a mentor?
Well, you know, it kind of, it makes me feel good to know that you help somebody that may have been lost if I didn't reach out and help them, you know. So a lot of people come up here and say, thank you, Miss Grant, if it wasn't for you, I wouldn't be in school. And also, having said that, when I worked at the bank, I will always tell my tellers, go to school. Don't stay around here. When you finish, go to school. And I'm happy to say that when I worked in San Francisco, I can't remember, I know his first name was John, but I can't remember his last name. He went on to school and he became a lawyer. Then I have 2 girls that I worked with here in Menlo Park. I encouraged them to go to school. And I heard from them, they went on and they're engineers. They went to college and graduated. So they are doing very well, but for the rest, they maybe can't get in contact with me. Oh, I have another Iranian girl. She's from Iran. And nobody would hire her when we work at the bank. And I hired her. And she's always called me Mom. As Mom, Bridget will tell you. How is Mom doing? So she went on to do great things. She opened a business. And they moved and they gone someplace else. But she always keep in touch with Bridget.
It seems like the through line from every chapter of your life that you shared with me, it's always people first. You really value the people around you.
And the children.
And so what was that? Were you born with that? Were you taught that?
Well, yes, that's what my family did, always helping somebody. Somebody can always come to our house and have a plate of food. And my grandfather, when we were small growing up, he used to work for a big company that built wells. And he will go into the countryside and he will be the watchman to watch the stuff nobody steal it. But many times I remember I would see a young person come in and asking for my mother. And she will read the letter and they'll stay. And then what I found out, he will send these children down and my mother have to send them to school so they can be educated. And I saw that growing up as a child, always reaching out, helping. So that's how I was brought up.
If your parents and grandparents could see you now and see the place you have here and what you've been doing with your life, running the senior center, how do you think they'd feel?
I think they would be very happy to know that I'm following in the tradition what they did, you know. But I do feel sometimes, I think they're watching. They're around. I feel that way too. Because everything I do seems to like flourish. Anything I do seems to just great. Like somebody is there saying, I appreciate you doing this or something.
That's beautiful.
And I have a lot of seniors come here lots of times and say, oh, Mrs. Grant, you still here? Because you see, East Palo Alto used to be predominantly African Americans. But for some reason, during the pandemic, some of them passed on, some moved away, sold their homes, moved away. And I remember, may have been a month ago, a gentleman passed away, I don't know him. But my daughter told the ladies that you can have the repast here. And I was sitting up front there. And these women come in, Mrs. Grant, you still here? I said, yeah, I'm here, but I can't remember those ladies, but they remember me. I remember my kindness, you know. And yes, I'm here, but why they moved away, some of them, as they get older, there's no nursing home here in East Palo Alto. So they moved away out of the area where they can find a nursing home that can help them as they get older.
Sure.
Because some came back with wheelchairs, the van dropped them off and stuff like that. So they really appreciate me being here too.
What are you most proud of when you think of your life's work?
I am proud of that I'm able to help other people. I'm able to talk to young people and help them out along the way.
How would you like to be remembered?
I would like to be remembered as a caring and giving person. That's what I'd like to remember. And a person believe in God, always help me all the way. We pray a lot too.
Is there anything I didn't ask that you also want to share about?
I think, no, that's fine.
This was
Can't think of
amazing.
anything.
This was amazing. I really appreciate your time. I mean it. This was great. This was incredibly interesting.
Yeah.
Thank you so much to Mrs. Grant on this episode of Ask Your Elders. We learn about her life growing up in British Guyana, moving to the United States, and eventually becoming the executive director here at the East Palo Alto Senior Center for the last over 30 years. She's still here 7 days a week. We learned a lot about her life. And please hit subscribe and comment below if you have further questions or want to get involved. Thank you so much, Ms. Grant. Thank you so
You're
much.
so
I really
welcome.
appreciate your time.
You're so welcome. Also, I'm the president for the Rotary here.
I didn't
and also
realize
I'm
that.
the president for here now. So I'm two presidents, a president for two organizations.
And you're 7 days a week busy. 87 years old and you're busy 7 days a week.
Well, you see, I've been a member of a Rotary here in East Palo Alto for 16 years.
Oh, wow.
My daughter and I. And then the situation came up, and I was called and asked, will you be the president? You can fix that. I don't know if they're to fix a person.
Although I think
So
we've learned that
that's
you
it.
fix things at the bank, you fix things when you got involved here, so people clearly see a pattern.
And so I said, okay, let me see what I can do. And so the lawyer called from the Rotary, and one of a good friend of mine from us, we helped him to get into the Rotary. He remembered. He said, you go, Mrs. Grant, and I want you to run for president. We got you. So I did, and I won.
Well, congratulations.
And thank you for coming.
I really
Thank you.
appreciate this. Thank you.
Must come back again and
Yeah,
check us out.
yeah. And I also have some footage of you this morning at 8 a.m. cooking breakfast for the seniors like you do every day. So we'll enjoy some of that footage as well.